Welcome back to Men 101. What an amazing panel I have. Nick Bass, Tony D'Amico, and the amazing Derek Friday. Great to have you back, Derek. Awesome.
It's good to be back.
Topic today, man, advocacy for men. You know, this is an interesting show, like everything from talking about men's rights from custody to full works. Our guest today is Dr. Marilyn Morris, counselor, community activist, lawyer, and we have a great musician, Narissa Brown, but goes as her stage name is Narissa, so looking forward to that. So let's get right into it. Advocacy for men. What is, like, I'm a little not sure what I know about that. What is that? Can you help me out here with this?
Well, isn't it more like support groups or help groups for men, be it child custody, men that are abused, believe it or not?
Abuse?
Yeah.
The fact that we're asking what it is actually, to me, an indication that there may be a little bit of a gap in terms of advocacy for men in general,
Yeah.
across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of like trying to like figure out how this is, like it's like support groups, as you said, abuse for like I know men have an ego, whether it be whatever community it is, men have an ego, and are they going to go to, if they're abused by their partner or physically or verbally, are they going to go talk to a support group? Are they going to go to the police? They're not going to go to the police as much because our egos get in the way. Like, we've been brought up to, like, men don't cry. Right. This is what I would probably starting to come into my head and think about this. So I know my mother used to say and this and that. Well, you're a boy, you don't need to be crying. When my sister, they cried, it was okay because you were a girl, right? But
we were taught that.
That's what I'm saying. That's the nurture thing, right? We were molded to be tough,
right?
To be
Socially and societally,
right.
I have to say I love this. I love the direction of this topic because my father wasn't like that. Of course, there were a couple of the male things that he wanted his sons to portray. I think he gave up on that a long time ago. But my father was, and still is, very open emotionally, so it taught me how to be open emotionally and available as well. That said, being in that group of male communicators who are open and whatnot, I look out in the world and that's not common. It's not as common as I thought it was.
Right.
So clearly there is a gap, or there's a space and a need for advocacy just across the board in whatever struggle it is that you're having, whether you were abused by a partner or a parent or just a kid in school, you know what I mean? So I think it's
like I said, it's a hard. I'm trying to like wrap my head around it, and it just made me thought. I'd seen when we decided to discuss this topic, I'd seen a thing called sheds for men, like, and it's I think it started in Australia, and now it's moved to the UK and other places where men can go, and it's a shed where they can go and work on
an actual shed.
An actual shed.
Or a program.
It's a shed,
okay.
like with tools where you can do carpentry or stuff. So you get to work out stuff, but then you get to, with other men, you get to talk about the stuff, bonding, right? And maybe that's when they open up more that way.
Right.
I have to say something to that. I love the idea of that, and it's great to have that bonding. But does it always have to be just tools and stuff like that?
Well, I don't disagree with you. What I'm thinking is to get them to open up, they need to maybe do something. Like, I mean, we talk about opening up
as opposed to just sitting around and talking.
Right. Like, a good thing would be like sports athletes, right?
Yeah.
You know, somebody once mentioned, well, why do men cry when they win the Euro Cup, or why do men cry when they win the NFL, or why do men?
It's emotional. Like anybody else.
Okay, so how do we not?
Sure.
You know, like, I mean,
yeah, but okay, it's in a sport environment.
Why are we restricted, and why do we limit ourselves?
It's wrong that you know, a guy can't cry. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
We're human.
We're not saying it's not wrong.
We got feelings. We sometimes we need.
But
it's gonna sound kind of cheese, but we need a shoulder to put your head on and just let some water out of there. And then,
right, but it's easier for a male to show his feelings on the sport environment. Like if you win some big thing.
Yeah, because we're not thinking. We're just it's emotion.
Okay,
boom.
so why can you not open up about something else that's bothering you emotionally?
You don't want to look
like you'll cry at a funeral. Like somebody close to you, like you have no problem crying at a funeral, or something happens. That's like But when it comes to other issues, like let's say you're being abused physically or emotionally by your partner, you're a man. You don't want to like open up and you got to stand strong. But on this field in the sports world, it's a completely different ballgame.
Because it's
Acceptable?
acceptable to cry at a funeral. It's acceptable if you're playing in the Super Bowl and you lose, or you win and you're crying of joy. But it's not acceptable if your wife, your significant other, is verbally abusive towards you, or she just broke your heart, or she cheated on you.
That's
You're
great.
the man. Like, suck it up, and
Like I said, if you like the same, like and is it the same, like if you broke your heart, if your was broken, like we don't want to be seen crying.
right?
Yeah.
Right, and we don't want to be we don't want our friends, our male friends, to say, "What's wrong with you? Why are you crying?"
Right.
Or you lock yourself in a room. Which everybody at this table,
Right.
I know for sure, I had my heart broken and that, and you don't want to be around anybody, and but you don't want anybody to see you.
I think that's a general thing. I think I don't know that there's any woman that's walking down the street saying, "I'm fine to cry right here, right now," looking for people to watch them cry. I think that when you're broken like that, you do naturally kind of want to retreat. The difference is, you guys can tell me this.
Right.
Did you call your buddy when you were heartbroken?
See, when I
that's
just-
it. See, a woman will call her friend, or her
yeah.
friend will call the
That's
woman
not-
who's heartbroken. Are you okay? Do you need me to come over?
It's
Do you
a
want-"
whole thing.
But
That's a whole-
You're
We
not
do
gonna
a
call.
whole
Yeah, but
You're
I
not
called
gonna
a
call.
girlfriend. That's a girl. That's just a friend. And
You're
Right.
going to call a girl though. That's what
Girl.
you said.
Yeah.
You see,
You're
that's
not
not
gonna
what
call your
that's.
best buddy.
Yeah,
to like,
you're not
"Dude,
calling-
He's seen you
dude,
once.
Once.
I'm hurting.
Okay,
Like,
it's
what's
not
gonna
like I
say?
cry every single day. Like, I mean,
But that's not what we're talking about. Like as Derek said, women, and I don't, is it the same in the gay community where men you can call a friend and no problem, but where women, their girlfriends are there for
Yes.
support. The guy, it's an ego thing with a male counterpart.
There's
where
less support for the man.
Less support for the man because
Be
your
it from a
buddies,
friend, be it from your dad, be
your
it
da-
from
anybody.
Right.
Why you get over it?
Yeah,
That's it. It's
literally.
get over it already.
Yeah.
You're a man. Shake it up.
that's it.
And it's like, especially when dealing with heartbreak, what I see often is, oh, well, we'll go out for drinks and like go like bang a chick, like, you know what I mean? It's a whole thing.
Right.
It's like that machismo to cover up what's actually happening, to move on, and yada yada. And I just, for me, I don't understand it personally, because I feel like I need to have an emotional outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're all built the same way.
Right.
We all have emotions. Right. So why?
shouldn't be judged
Why
on
can't we
it
go?
because you
Anyway,
cry.
guys, this is
I mean,
now I'm starting to get into this more. I enjoy it. We'll be right back after the break with Dr. Morris. Look forward to that. Welcome back, and we have the amazing Dr. Marilyn Morris here, who's a lawyer, an international advisor, and works as she's actually the vice president of the BBPA, which is the Black Business Professionals Association. Dr. Morris, what an incredible woman you are, eh? Such an amazing thing to have you on the show. Like, I mean, like we've talked in the past and about the nurturing of men.
Yes.
Can you give us some insight to that and what your perspective on that is?
Yes. I was hearing a little conversation earlier regarding advocacy for men, and truly this is a most important issue. And I'm hearing the conversation leading into men being fearful to speak how they feel and to express emotions and all of that. It's interesting because it brings me back to the whole question of how we nurture our children, right? Society dictates what the man should be, who he should be. He actually is described as strong, fearless, brave. But these are not words we assign to our girls. They're gentle and soft and all that. But for me, it is a balance because we all have the male hormone and the female hormone. We all feel emotions, right? And it's because of how men are nurtured from the home to be strong, Do not cry, your mother said. Yes, she tells you, don't cry, you're a man. You're a boy. Boys don't cry. And so you become fearful to express that kind of emotion because it is a sign to women and girls. And yet, we tell our girls as well, you ought to be soft and gentle and pretty. And you can't express that strength of character because this is a male domain. And so for me, right, and I do a lot of coaching and parenting and that sort of thing, and teach parents how to raise conscious children and strong children and resilient children, and children that are not afraid to determine and say who they are. So I expect you to cry. I expect you to cry and express your feelings.
Right.
And as a woman, I would love that. You cannot always be strong and bold and brave. It is not sexy, actually. Okay? I wrote a poem once about the gentle giant. And this is a man who knows himself, is strong and all that, but he knows how to cry and express himself. And not only when he's making love and he screams out in ecstasy and the tears flow. Other occasions too, when he really feels. That is a real man who knows how to be on every occasion.
To express himself.
How to express himself. It is a noble thing, and as a woman, and I am a strong woman, by the way, but I want my man to be able to exercise all facets of his nature. This is who he is. And when he begins to cry, I can hug him and love him and say, it's okay, honey.
That's a good point, because when men seem to cry, they turn to their mothers, and their mothers give them that
Comfort.
the comfort, right? And when you get older, you know, you seem to like the mother's there all the time. To like the father, not necessarily, but in Derek seemed to have a different upbringing where he was lucky enough to get. I had it when I was a young man.
Really?
A little bit, yeah. My father was passed away a long time ago, but yeah, he was nurturing too, but and still at the same point. It was, you know, you have to learn not to cry or whatever, and my mom was the same way, you know. But when it's like you turn to your mom when you do cry. You know what I'm saying? So the mother basically, as much as the father's there, it seems the mother is the nurturer, and she can mold you a certain way, right?
And the responsibility is hers.
It
Even
is hers,
from
yeah.
within her womb.
Right.
Right? She has to start nurturing from there. Okay, and understanding how am I going to raise this child, male or female? And I know we're talking about male here. If it's a male, how am I going to raise this child? Am I going to raise this child to be the man like my father was? And if your father was a weakling, do you want to raise your son to be a weakling?
Right.
You know? So she has to determine from beginning what kind of man she wants her son to grow up to be. And I dare say it's important for balance as well, because and I have nurtured a son as well, okay? And I was not gender specific in the roles in terms of what they play with, in terms of toys. You know, some parents like to nurture their sons to play with only cars and trucks and trains and whatever, and Lego. And the girls about dolls and nurturing, and in terms of caring for the dolls and combing the hair and things like that. I said, no, we need balance.
So you think it's more the mother's responsibility to nurture?
To some extent, yes, and the fathers as well.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be a togetherness thing as far as nurturing
it's a balance.
is concerned.
I mean,
It is indeed a
As
balance.
much as the mother, I think every child needs a father figure.
They do,
Absolutely.
but it isn't.
But
We talk to
absolutely.
the fathers for
But if you don't
discipline.
But if you don't talk with your parents, like your mom, and you have conversations, you know, how you feeling, what's going on, then you won't ever learn how to express yourself. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
but-
Like your mom is, like for me, my mother, she always showed us affection. She never told us not to cry. She made us cry a lot. That's a different story. But, no, it's true. But my mom was a tough woman, but at the same time, she always showed us affection. She taught us to be affectionate, you know?
Well, I think the older generations, when you go to your father with an emotional problem, you know, I mean, I'm talking my generation, our generation. They're not used to it, and they'll probably look at you like, you know, that's what they'll say, like, you know, what's wrong with you? Be a man, like, you know. Don't.
Yes. But the narrative has got to change,
Right.
especially in today's society. It's no longer like the past because we have lots of movements for men's rights movement. You know, men are going through the court system and are being raked over the coal in terms of custody and how social policies and legislation treat men unequally. You know, and then the narrative has got to start, that cultural narrative where we change the shift from the gynocentric sort of focus to now look at what is really affecting men and can we nurture them differently.
So it's like equal rights for women for a long time. Now men should have equal rights now in like certain aspects or certain things that men need equal rights in, like, as you say, the court system and stuff like that when it comes to custody battles and stuff, you know?
Yeah. We need to consider those things because, you know, it has been accepted. Society has dictated how we nurture our male and female over the years. And it goes back to feudal time, by the way. In feudal times when chivalry was alive and well, and women say, okay, I want my man to be strong. I want him to go into the field and work, and he should be able to mind me and bring me riches. And if there's a puddle in the road, he needs to throw his coat down for me to step on and walk on and so on. And that was it then. But over the years, it has changed, right? Into the Industrial Revolution, as you know, and into the wars where women have to leave their homes and go into the factories to work to build ammunition and so on. So we need to change the narrative now.
Absolutely great. We're going to come right back with Dr. Morris. It's a great topic for men. See you soon. Back with Dr. Morris. So let's get into this topic even deeper. Like, my question is, do you feel there needs to be more advocacy programs for men in Ontario? Is there somebody pushing for stuff like that? Is there any way we can find out or get somebody to push for that stuff for us to like share our feelings and something like that?
Well, I think there's not enough.
There's not enough.
And it's not just a Canada thing or Ontario thing or Toronto, worldwide. Because society generally is nurturing our children to be men or women specific, and the standards and acceptable norms dictate that men are strong and dominant, and that's what they should be doing. They should make cry, they should be tough, and that sort of thing. So we have to begin to change the narrative through the education system, by the way, and legislation as well, social justice system. We have to re-examine all of that. And we ought not to be afraid. You men are sitting here. It starts with you. If you find that something is wrong and it needs to be changed, you need to do it. And by the way, there is this men's right movement that started way back in the 1970s, right? Where they were looking, it was like coming out of the feminist movement, where they were feeling that women were gaining inroads, and by right they should. But the question is, what right were they looking at to see how are we treated? You know, what were they really thinking of? And then there arose this a voice for men, and they're looking at issues like abuse. And by the way, women abuse their men. Okay, and the men are so macho, they're afraid to speak out about it. They internalize it, and they go home every day and they're battered. Right?
And then the internalization can lead to
internalize it, mental depression, for example.
It could also lead to, depending on the individual, probably then if you're an aggressive individual, you might go out, the next thing you know, you're in a fight in a street with some guy that has no clue what exactly happened.
Domestic violence.
Well, not even necessarily, well, from the female, if the guy was being, having a domestic violence problem from his partner, whether female or male, but that maybe because that man's so strong as a man and he's always been a man, he goes out onto the street, and next thing you know, he bumps into some guy for no reason, and next thing he's in court or a charge, assault charge. So this is what we need. We need to find places where we can actually not be looked down upon, or that we're weak, as somebody would say, to talk or judge, whatever it may be, that we can actually find places where we can talk. Like I said, that sheds thing was an interesting thing, but as Derek said to me, do you have to work with tools and stuff? But it seemed to be a way for them to open up and stuff. Like, I mean, I come from a background of being a strong man and stuff like that, and I think I was lucky enough I could sort of open my feelings, but maybe not to the extent that I probably wanted to. Like we were talking just before you came on about the relationship thing, and once you get your heart broken, that's where it seems to be from a male standpoint. I don't want to call my male buddies and tell them I've got my
Yes.
heart
Your
broken.
heart broken, right?
Right,
Yes.
and it's an emotional topic. I mean, we
Yes.
talk about this, and why? Because are we letting ourselves down?
Yes,
That's what
you
we
are.
feel, right? But why would so we're being judged by our male
You're
counterparts?
showing your
Vulnerability,
yes.
right?
Yes.
But it's okay to show your vulnerability when you're in
okay.
love with somebody.
Right.
But then you gotta lock yourself away when
Yeah.
you're that guy,
And
and
then
that,
it's romantic.
and that's
So,
that's why we love having Derek on the show.
I have a quick question in terms of culturally. Do you notice a difference with machismo? I have an opinion, but do you notice a huge difference culturally?
Yes. And we also have to look at gynocentrism as well, gynocentric, because these are different cultural perspectives that frame narratives, right, and cause a lot of confusion. There's the androcentric as well, right, where we have this cultural narrative in terms of these categories, and nobody is finding the common ground, okay? For me personally, that common ground begins in the foundation of nurturing, right? And socialization. It has to engage families and schools
School teachers,
and
right?
communities
Yeah.
and teachers and churches and so on, right up the ladder to our political system, where policies are made and turned into legislation, okay? And this is not happening. You know, by the way, we have an education system that is very traditional, okay? And while there are new things taking place and changes in our environment and different social relationships being formed every day, there's not enough research taking place to see how can we accommodate and how can we understand this narrative to be able to change the policies and so on, okay? So while all these, there's a tug of war between the different perspectives and what is happening and so on, and the truth is not being known. We have to go back to basic and the foundational elements, okay? Beginning in the home. But then you're going to ask, what if the parents don't know how to? You know?
That's
What
the
if they
thing.
don't know how to really begin to raise conscious children? And I want to go back to this question you asked as well about programming, whether there are programs for men and so on. And they're not enough. And they're not enough precisely because there's a feeling and an acceptability that men do not want to hear because they're strong and they're dominant. But women will find the retreats to go to,
Right.
to learn about themselves and how to understand themselves and how
true.
to
Very true.
teach their children to be better. I would love to see the day when men like you would come to my coaching classes
I'd love
to
see.
understand how to be real men. And when I say real men, I mean strong and yet gentle. I like a gentle giant.
Yeah.
And you're not forgetting yourself, but you know what makes you strong and yet gentle, and how to express that. You know?
Self-exploration,
And-
right?
Yes. And
Like-
it starts at home, knowing who the child is.
Agreed. I'd love to see the male version of Eat, Pray, Love. I really would. That could be awesome.
Derek always has something cute to say.
I'm just saying.
Yes. No, but you know, it is a very serious conversation. And it has to start somewhere. And I'm very happy that men like you are taking a forward stand. And you should have more like this, more information session and seminars and programs to really let men begin to speak their issues.
Yeah, like I mean, my children, like I have a son and a daughter, and I remember my daughter turning around and saying to my son, and you know, you're a boy, you shouldn't cry.
There
And I'm
you
trying
go.
to figure out where it came from because I know I didn't say
Yes.
it myself, right?
Yes.
But then I'm thinking again, we're talking about how do we get the parents to understand this because the parents are of a different generation now. So it's on a guy like me and parent
Yes.
guys my age to like start incorporating
dialogue.
this in the home
Yes.
and helping the children like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's very important because, you know, it's a real deep concern for me because as we have those little ones in front of us, male and female, and in homes where parents are not conscious enough to know how to, I usually give this joke about the women who sometimes you hear little Johnny playing pans with your kitchen tools.
You know what,
and
Dr.
you shut him
Morris,
up and said,
you're going to have to hold
"Stop
on to
it."
that joke until I get right back.
Yes.
We're going to come right back with Dr. Morris and her joke right after the break. See you soon. And we're back with Dr. Morris and her joke. Let's go with the joke there, Dr. Morris.
Well, it's just a statement,
It's a
actually.
statement.
You like to pick at me, yeah? Okay. It's just that when we see our mothers nurturing, and sometimes they're not aware of the talents or gifts or passion of their children, even from 5, even from young, right? And they might be in the kitchen playing pans, and you'd say, "Shut up, you're making too much noise." And there you put the spirit of fear in that child. I can't play
Right.
pans, and yet you're shutting up maybe a musical genius.
Right.
Okay, so we need to make sure that as parents we know how we can nurture, and it should be our responsibility to take forward action in that. I don't know, seek help to get to know, you know, but it is really a dilemma, you know, and we are destroying our children, believe it or not. Not necessarily intentionally, but because of lack of knowledge as well.
On the nurturing aspect, do you think teachers should be more involved? The
Yes.
burden should lay on teachers as well?
I wouldn't
mean,
call it a burden.
Okay, the responsibility.
Yes.
It takes a village to raise a child, right? So.
And you know, I take issue when I hear that
Yes.
statement. Because yes, because you know, sometimes things are said, it takes a village to raise a child. And everybody jumps on that bandwagon and jargon and everything, and not understanding what exactly does it mean. So there are different villages. There's a home village, there's a school village, there's a church village, there's a community, there's a whole nation, there's a whole world that is at their door in the internet. So I am saying at the end of the day, know who are the members of your village that you want to expose your children to. So I always say, yes, know your village. Yes, it takes a village to raise a child, but how do you want that child to be raised?
Right.
And who are the members of those villages that you want to put into the arms of your children? I mean,
Yeah,
the
but
children
that
into
would be
their
the parents'
arms.
responsibilities.
Yes.
Who do you want to let access into your child's
Yes,
life?
yes. But to go back to your question about burden, or I prefer to use the word responsibility.
right,
Certainly, nurturing a child is all of our business, because at the end of the day, we are looking towards peace and harmony,
Right.
right? And the oneness of humanity that comes out of that, okay? And therefore, it's an inside job. It's an inside job in terms of understanding the child and nurturing the child, because the child has body, mind, and soul, and that authenticity lies within the child. And then there's a whole society requirements of how you nurture them for success in terms of being good citizens, etc., etc. And the whole issue of teaching them the reading and the writing and arithmetic, math, science, and technology, and so on. So there's a lot of work for teachers to do. But for me, I always look at the integrated approach to nurturing. Okay? So in the home, there is a responsibility there.
For sure.
And if as a parent you do not know sufficiently, seek the teachers. And by the way, be understanding of as well of who the teachers are. Because we are all societal people, and they are nurtured as well the same way. And they go to school, and yes, they are responsible for teaching them biology and math and chemistry and so on. But very often, they are not responsible for necessarily focusing on socialization and raising successful children that with consciousness.
Right.
So my
Okay.
question would be, have you found now that the schools are more open to this sort of support programs for men in the schools right now? Or like there was none of that back probably, not in my day anyway, but do you see now that maybe, has that been introduced in any way so far? Has that?
Well, I cannot speak on the entire Canadian system, but
Right.
I know small pockets of conscious people and segments of society in terms of association are having that conversation. For me, the conversation needs to take place at a broader level, right?
Would you think then, if you're going to do stuff like to introduce these type of programs, maybe at teaching college where the people learn to become teachers, maybe they should have a program where you
Exactly.
learn to teach this stuff when you going to be a teacher. If you're going to teach high school or,
Yeah.
or
For example, there's this whole issue of mindfulness in education and in school. This is about looking within and seeing why are children the way they are, okay? And can we just stop for a moment and see why is Johnny acting up? Why is he behaving this way? Okay? Can we stop for a moment with a strategy that tells him, look within, let's be quiet for a moment. okay, and see what is happening. Let us teach them social and emotional learning that tells them about self-worth and self-confidence and success. And teach them how to deal with bullying, for example. Right? That is all a part of social and emotional learning, but it is not central to the curriculum. Right? It is not central there. And so we are going to school, but teachers are not exposed to doing that. And it's not designing to the program for that. You know, for them to actually look at those kind of things and being contemplating and being critical from an early age, so that they grow in a state of being acceptable or understanding of others and show compassion and empathy. So I will not cry at you because you're a boy that's starting to cry, but I will understand and I will be compassionate to you because something has happened to you, Johnny. Why? What is happening? You know, showing that responsibility and teaching social justice.
You mentioned
as well.
bullying there, and I mean, back in the day, I'm sure Nick and Derek and maybe Tony would know that when you were bullied in school, if you were bullied in school, it's, I guess, you took the slap or you punched back or you done whatever. Like, society seems to have completely changed now, where if you're bullied in school or you have to go talk about it or whatever. Like, the only thing I ever knew about a bully was simple. They were more afraid of you because the minute you turned around and slapped back or got into it with them, they backed down right away. And then it seems like if you stand up to a bully, that's when things come to an end. But again, has that something to do with nurturing our children?
Well, a little of both, because I grew up and I was bullied as well. I was bullied into saying, you're too bright. You're too much of a bright girl, you know? And they would come take my dinner or lunch at the desk and say, go away, you must go and eat trash. Things like that. Or they would see my art painting, and I was very good at art as well, you know, exhibited in the school. Who do you think you are? So there was that kind of bullying from my days, and by the way, I'm still 25. But
You look at
Thank you. But in my days, it was there. And my father was there to help me to deal with it, okay? Not in school, you know? And even though you go to the teacher and say, okay, stop it, don't do that, and that's it, and it continues the next day. And I'm not a fighter, I'm a girl, you know? So whereas the boys would fistic off it, and I remember my brother used to fight for me sometimes, and they beat the two of us up in school, and the both of us crying going home to our parents. But so it was there, but I think that there is not sufficient. They're starting in some schools, I know that for sure, that some conscious teachers and so on take on those issues to really begin to nurture. And I know that in America, for example, social and emotional learning is a big thing, and in Australia and the UK and so on, but it hasn't arrived here yet.
So it's more it's more of the individual teacher that takes it upon themselves, as opposed to
it's not a policy
program. No, as opposed to programs being structured for teaching this.
Not that I know of.
Don't you think it's also up to the parents to be selective as to? I mean, you especially nowadays. There's so much choice in everything. Don't you think it can be up to the parents to select where?
That
I know
is happening?
there are certain.
Yes.
I know there are certain.
Sorry to cut you off, Derek, but we're running out of time. Again, Dr. Morris, phenomenal one. We love having you here. This is a great
Thank
topic
you.
for men out there. Listen, we'll be right back after the break. We're on at the BKS Barbershop today. We'll see you later. Welcome back, guys. Listen, wasn't that great? Dr. Morris is something special, eh?
Awesome.
She's definitely all about the man, isn't it? Like, get back into the home, the nurturing to get us,
Great
like
conversation.
it's just like the emotion that, like I mean, when we brought her on, we were talking. God, I was getting emotional. I was like hoping maybe somebody put a box of tissues on the thing, so we all like, you know.
Let it out.
Yeah.
Let the emotions flow.
You're not allowed. Tony can't be a strong man anymore. Tony, you got to stand up and like let your emotions show. You know. But great topics, guys. Oh my God, it's just I got that knot in my stomach talking about that.
Did you all have machismo fathers?
I never know what machismo means. What is machismo? What is
Like,
Macho.
don't cry,
no,
macho.
No,
not
my
at all.
father.
Right.
My
Okay.
dad
No.
Yeah, neither me.
I was pretty much the
Okay,
man
so
of the family growing
listen,
up. So
we went down to check out the barber shop, BKS Barber, to teach men about grooming. So let's take a look at what happened today. Down here today at the BKS Barbershop with the proprietor, Viv.
Yes, sir.
How's it going today, Viv?
Things are going great.
So what are you going to show us today?
Today we've got my man Chili here. He's going to be one of our models. We're going to do 2 shaves. We're going to do the basic shave that you can do at home with just your common liner, which just gets the line straight, gets you ready to go, keeps you handsome. And then we'll do a little cream shave on this other side with the straight razor, just so you can see the differences in the effectiveness of the shave. We'll get started on this side. Chili wears a full beard like most men these days. It's a common thing. It's sort of like, it's the style, it's sort of the attractive appeal of, or the man's mane, right? So usually what we start to do, we want to get around the mouth a little bit. The worst thing for most men don't like chewing their hair. So what we do, we just nip off just a little bit here, just on the edge of the lip, right? Chili also, he's not a fan of eating any of his hair either, so this works out quite well for him. And you don't want to take off very much. One thing with the beard, most men with longer beards are quite sensitive. Under the chin area, you just sort of use your liner and you just guide it along. Clean up all the unnecessary hair. And it's a liner, so the most important thing is getting the lines straight, getting the lines precise. In terms of the volume of the hair, we'll attack that as we get closer to the end. So that's just the front of the lip. The back of the lip, some men like it pointy, some like it wide. All you usually do, you sort of pull the nostril back when you're in the mirror, and you just sort of edge it. Chili likes his just edge. He wants that natural look. He doesn't want anything basically pointy or square. He just wants it to sort of have that natural appearance. In order to do that, you just use the liner in this fashion and just edge the beginning of the top of the line on the beard, on the mustache.
Is the razor important, Viv, to have like a good razor to do this? Or should you just buy something somewhere that's decent?
Well, if you have a decent machine, it always helps better. I mean, it's like anything else in life. If you're driving a Mercedes-Benz, the drive is a little smoother. The same with shavers. If you got a higher quality shaver, you know, you get a better result in regards to the shave. This is the Andes shaver. It's one of the premier shaver and most common shaver that most barbers use. I suggest if you really care about doing your lines and so on, this would be the best shaver to go with. But your home shaver can effectively achieve, if not similar, something close to the same, right? When you're doing straight razor, it's always best to have a straight razor. And you see Chili's lines are developing here. Go right along the mane, side of his head.
So there's a lot of guys come in now, Viv, for lineups and stuff like that for beards now, yeah? It's a common thing.
It's common, like, it's changed a lot in the barbering culture. It used to be the clean face kind of look was sort of the look. But now it seems like a lot of men are getting the manly mane, I call it, you know, and the full beard. And I think the appeal and the attraction is there for the women out there and men out there that sort of are attracted to it. And I think it gives a more of a man look or a strong look in regards to the appearance. So you can sort of see the lines that sort of come forth here now.
Looks great,
You
looks
see
great.
the straight line here. Now we don't really do much up here. Some guys don't really line up here, but just to add effect and character to the cut, we do these little things just to add accent and strength to the cut. So you get something like that with the full beard, and he likes it full, right? On the other side, I'm gonna do sort of a cream shave kind of thing. So we won't be using the liner, we use a straight razor, and just a little aftershave, and the cream, shaving cream. So in this case, you would take your basic shaving cream at home, you sort of just apply it to the areas you're gonna attack, just lightly, you don't need much. You wanna be able to see where you're gonna put the lines. Right.
I know men's products are becoming very in the market, so any type of special type of shaving cream, if you're sensitive or anything like that, Viv, would you use, or just...
Well, if you are sensitive, I always tell people to use organic cream, so like organic soaps. If I have a client that comes in and his skin's very sensitive, I tend to have him use black soap, which is like an organic-based soap, and then you lather up the soap on the face and lather it up in a great aspect, and then you straight razor with that. So that's pure, natural shaving cream. Other than that, I use this shaving cream brand. It's older, it's called Johnny's. It's been around for quite a while, and a lot of men that are familiar with shaving, this is what they tend to use. Excuse me for 1 second, I'm just gonna get a hot towel just to put on his face, just so we can do the hot towel shave. So here we are. Got the straight razor, Got the towel, it's slightly steaming. Actually, just bear with me for a second while I put this on the face partially. So you put the hot towel on the face. This is just to soften up the hair, right? Massage it in the area. Right? Once that comes off, just put a little bit more cream. You just want to make sure that you have enough shaving cream so that the razor glides. You know, no one likes to get cut shaving. It's really not the experience that you want to experience while you're going through it. So we've got enough here. And we're going to try to do exactly the same sort of shave outcome with the machine that we did with the straight razor. So your straight razor, you can pick these up at any local stores or barbershops, or even Shoppers Drug Mart sells straight razors. So there are options and opportunities there. But with the straight razor, it's a lot different than the machine. The lines are actually controlled specifically with your hand control. So if you don't really have very good hands or very steady hands, this is definitely not the approach you'd like to do. But you could always come to BKS or any other barbershop and get that facilitated. So you can see I'm making the lines here, and the lines come clear. The cream adds as the definitive point, so I can see exactly where to start and where to stop in regards to the line.
Yeah, it's a much tighter, cleaner finish by the looks of it, you know?
It's a way better look, and it lasts a lot longer. It does take a little bit more time, but the effectiveness of it is way better.
That's fantastic, Viv. Great work. You know,
Thank you.
Anybody come down here to BKS Barbershop, get yourself a trim or cut or whatever you may need.
Bring them anytime.
Bring them anytime.
I mean, we're here for you guys, and we definitely can accommodate any shave or haircutting need that you have.
All right, that's awesome. Thanks, Viv.
Alan, thank you very
BKS
much.
Barbershop, come down for your trim, your lineup. See you soon. And we're back at Men 101 here with Narissa.
Hello.
Hi, Narissa. Narissa's an artist out of Toronto. Her first EP entitled Revealed, which can be found on her SoundCloud. And she is currently working on her second EP, set to be released this summer.
Yes.
What is the name of that? Do you have the name of that EP yet?
So now the second EP, we don't have the name for it yet. Still in the works.
Work in progress?
Work in progress. But the previous project that I released early last year is actually called Revealed. You can find it on my SoundCloud. Got some pretty good feedback, but that's it for now. Just working towards the next project, and hopefully
Where
something
did you
comes
get
of it.
your inspiration for your music?
Well, really, I've been singing since I was a child. It all started in church. That's where it started
Oh,
first,
really?
of course. And as I got older, I started to kind of get into music writing, poetry, stuff like that, and kind of got a bit more inspiration from artists like Beyonce, well, at the time, Destiny's Child, Tamia, Sierra, like that's my group, Brandy. Yeah, and I just kind of continued. I started working with different people, different producers and stuff like that, and just kind of getting a feel of it, and I just grew into it, and I continued doing it, and here I am.
You have that Brandy demeanor about you.
Yeah, you're right.
You have that look about Brandy, I must admit. Yeah.
That's a compliment.
Just better.
Just better. See?
Thank
This is
you.
why we have Derek on the show.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
Revealed.
Yes.
What were you revealing?
So it was kind of, so the concept behind that was the fact that I had been behind closed doors for so long. People always knew that I could sing. People knew I had the ability to sing, but I had never done any original work or any original material. And kind of Revealed just felt like this would be an opportunity for people to finally hear a piece of me, of who I am. All of my lyrics are based on experiences or friends of mine experiences and stuff like that. So it was just, the title, it was pretty self-explanatory, right? It was just revealing who I am as an artist, revealing the talent, and the start of a new beginning, a new road.
And how do your parents feel about you going into this industry?
You know what parents are. Some parents are fully supportive of it. Some parents, they may want other things for you, kind of thing. Everyone's been in that position where your parents may want you to be a lawyer, a doctor, the cliche type things, and you just want to do something else. And that's kind of my field. But however, they still, they support it. They'll come out. They won't bash it or anything like that. But I wouldn't really say it was their goal for me. But
When you make it big,
maybe then they'll change their mind,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So
With having had experience in the industry, though, would you because I'm familiar with the industry,
Yeah.
do you blame your parents for not being thrilled about? Because there's a lot of heartbreak in the industry. There's a lot of heartbreak. So
You're definitely right. I can't necessarily blame them, but at the same time, I would hope that they would trust that based on the morals they've raised me with, I'd be able to make the best decisions based on that and pursue the career at the same time.
I use that with my parents. I literally
You
do.
emotionally blackmail them? Is that what
No,
you
well,
said?
I literally say to them, I'm like, well, you raised me, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can go based off that. I mean, my parents are also very religious, so I'm kind of a little bit less religious. But aside from that, like, I'm just gonna take the basic morals that I've learned and just take it with me for a ride. And
You know, you just said that on television, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So how would you describe your music?
I would say it's very current. It has kind of a mix of new school R&B and old school R&B.
Okay.
Typically, certain songs that I sing, like when I go more of an acoustic feel with a guitar and stuff, can come off more soulful.
So you play the guitar, or you have a?
I don't play
guitar?
it. I wish.
Okay.
I wish. I don't play the guitar, but the song that I'm going to be singing, for example, today, it's more of a new school R&B, new feel
Okay.
type thing. But I would say I have a soulful voice. That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told most of the time.
That's good.
Nice.
I'd like to
Eager to
thank
hear that.
Marissa. We're going to see her shortly. I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Morris, and the BKS Barbershop, and also my panel, Nick, Tony, and Derek. Always keeping us amused and on point. Awesome. Marissa, look forward to your performance.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Don't it feel good? Don't it feel good? Having somebody in your corner. Having somebody you can call on. Yeah, yeah. Don't it feel good? Don't it feel good? Don't it feel good? Having somebody you can rely on. I'm talking more than overnight on. And lifelong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm getting ready for the weekend. Yeah, I'm just trying to see, yeah. Bottles on the rock, Henny and Ciroc. It's about to be a weekend. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't know about it. You already know where it's about to go. You already know. You already know how the story goes. We both on the road, we both on the go. So when we both in town, we don't waste no time. One thing on your mind, get me out these clothes. Hit you on your cell phone, just to hear your tone. Ain't no place like home, wishing you were home. Yeah. I'm getting ready for the weekend. Yeah, I'm just trying to see, yeah. Bottles on the rock, Henny and Ciroc. It's about to be a weekend. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't know about it. You already know where it's about to go. You already know. You already know. Moments like these, they come and they go. You just gotta hold on. Like some pictures and frames, we are the same. We make these memories. Hope you remember me. Tell me to be sounding soldier. I'm just so much better when you're around. You give me something to hold on to. You gave me that love I look for too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to see, yeah. Bottles on the rock, Henny and Ciroc. It's about to be a weekend. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't know about it. You already know where it's about to go. You already know. I'm getting ready for the weekend. Yeah, I'm just trying to see, yeah. Bottles on the rock, Henny and Ciroc. It's about to be a weekend. talking. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't know about it. You already know where it's about to go. You already know.